You're about to face off against the final bosses. Today we're going to be talking about Hazbin Hotel. Now, quick disclaimer, we really like this show and we don't feel like it's against any group of people. We hope that our video today will prove that as we discuss the hierarchy of hell and our heaven theory. With that out of the way, let's fight. We are mixing facts with theory to bring you Hell's hierarchy. On the surface seems fairly self-explanatory, but goes deeper than one might think. Let's start with the rulers of Hell, Lucifer and Lilith. While listed as overlords, they are also the rulers of Hell. They seem to run Hell with a hands-off approach, allowing each of the overlords to rule their layer of Hell without much, if any, oversight at all. So why are they rulers then? Well, we'll get to Lucifer in our heaven theory, but Hell seems to run on power is authority. Being such, Lucifer and Lilith are most likely the most powerful beings in Hell. Or they are the reason the angels don't just wipe Hell out. We'll get to that in a minute. So let's move on to the overlords. If you don't include Lucifer, Lilith, or even Alastor, there are 9. Makes sense, right? 9 circles of Hell, 9 overlords to rule them. We have a few known as well, which include Rosie, Valentino, Velvet, and Vox. The others are shown but unknown. We can actually see them twice in the pilot episode, first at the beginning, and later on when Vaggy's talking about Alastor. Speaking of...
Wait, you've never heard of him before? You've been here longer than me. The Radio Demon, one of the most powerful beings Hell has ever seen.
Not big on politics.
Ugh. Decades ago, Alastor manifested in Hell, seemingly overnight. He began to topple overlords who had been dominant for centuries. That kind of raw power had never been harnessed by a mortal soul before. Then, he broadcast his carnage all throughout Hell, just so everyone could witness his ability. Sinners started calling him the Radio Demon. As lazy as that is. Many have speculated what unimaginable force enabled him to rival our world's most ancient and destructive evils.
As shown in Vaggy's flashback, Alastor was among the other overlords, making him the 10th. This also proved that Alastor himself is the first mortal overlord, and the only mortal overlord that we know of so far. Now we have a problem. There are 10 overlords and only 9 circles. This means Alastor, with his newfound power, will most likely have to muscle in on someone else's territory. The most likely overlord would be Vox, because vivziepop herself has stated on several occasions that he hates Alastor, and he's one of the show's main antagonists. So we can say safely that he has at least taken over some, if not all, of Vox's territory. And unlike other overlords, Alastor himself probably wouldn't enforce the rules of Hell, which could explain some of the turf wars that we see in Pentagram City, and why we don't see them in Imp City. The last big difference between Alastor and the other overlords of Hell is that he is the only known overlord with a moral code. He will not kill children. In fact, if he finds a lost child, he will raise it until it gains sentience, and he will not chase fleeing victims. That covers our overlords. Now it's time to move on to another branch of the hierarchy of Hell.
We mentioned before that power equals authority. However, lineage is important to Hell as well. The children of the overlords also has some authority. Thanks to a comment by Vizzy, we know that Stolas is not an overlord, but a Goatia demon and a prince of Hell. But wait, I hear you're saying, that's his real name and title in Ars Goatia, one of the books from the Lesser Key of Solomon. How does this have anything to do with his lineage? Well, Vizzy's version of Hell is not the same Hell from any lore. While strongly based from the Abrahamic religions, mostly Judaism and Christianity, it's not the same Hell or lore. So how do we know that Stolas is a descendant of an overlord? Well, it's an educated guess, but let's get into it for a moment. We know that demons can have kids thanks to Stolas having his own. Stolas looks like one of the unknown overlords that we see. And it's easy to assume that Charlie is a princess just because of being the daughter of the king and queen. However, it's not a big leap of logic to say that Stolas as a prince and Charlie as a princess are from the same line of authority. Putting all the clues together makes it fairly obvious to us that if you're a child of one of the overlords, you are a prince or princess of Hell, and you have some power and authority. Our guess is they act as a mayor in the big cities of each layer, though without knowing how each layer works and what they look like, this is just a speculation. What we do know is in Pentagram City, Charlie is the one to signal the all clear after the cleansing. It's safe to say that the other princes and princesses have similar roles in their cities. Lastly, I want to talk about Charlie. We have already made a solid base for her as a princess of hell, and as such would be lower than an overlord. However, she is also the heir to hell. While not confidently, she does order Alastor to help her. Of course, it came across that he was doing it because he wanted to, and really didn't care about her order.
As Princess of Hell and heir to the throne, I, hereby order that you help with this hotel for as long as you desire. Sound fair?
Fair enough.
Cool beans.
Which once again shows that power is authority. Even as the daughter of Lucifer, if you don't show your power, you'll be disrespected, and you'll probably get into fights with news ladies. And that concludes the hierarchy of hell and Hazbin. Now we got another special treat for you. We actually have our own theory on what's going on in heaven, and even Lucifer himself.
This brings us to Lucifer in the Hazbin universe, who seems to be an antithesis to his biblical counterpart. We can support this theory with quotes from Vizzy herself, who has said that Lucifer is a free spirit who loves music, his favorite being polka, in fact. Vizzy has also gone on to say that his personality is like that of Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Other information that we have on Lucifer is that he is married to Lilith, who in Judaic-Christian lore was the first wife of Adam who was cast down to hell. This is very different from the biblical Lucifer, who was known to dislike humans and was cast down because of his hatred for them and the fact that he started to rebel against God. He even was known to try to trick the first humans into committing sins and taboos. With Lucifer being an opposite of his Christian counterpart, it also goes without saying that the angels themselves are also opposite to their Christian counterparts. Instead of being protectors of humanity, they're more like destroyers, enjoying casting judgment on each and every human soul, and taking pleasure in the execution of every denizen of hell with a sick and twisted grin. They also seem to have control over who gets in and out of heaven with a zealous fist.
So I guess you're wondering why the angels rule and not God. Well, we have a theory on that too. We believe that God currently isn't there, that he is AFK. Right now we have 3 guesses as to why God is gone. Number 1, like in Supernatural, he peaced out after creating the universe. This one does seem the most unlikely, as Vizzy would not want to straight up rip off Supernatural. Number 2, God was in prison. Seeing humans as flawed and God continuing to favor him, the jealous angels wanted most, or all of them, to go to hell. The only way to do that was to band together and imprison God. Number 3, God died to redeem humans. This idea comes from Jesus giving his life in the Bible. However, instead of Jesus being God made flesh and dying, God just straight up sacrifices himself for humans. The angels are very strict about who gets into heaven, hence the overpopulation in hell. Most likely they were jealous of humans and they're closest to God. With God out of the way, they only allowed those who live perfect lives to go to heaven. They would then take great pleasure in permanently killing them with a sadistic smile. They use their special spears to kill the former humans, who are now demons. It seems the spear is the only way to kill a demon as well. The only rule the angels seem to follow is they don't attack the overlords. Be it with some deal they made with Lucifer, or they just want to be some order in hell.
And that concludes our heaven theory and this video. Thanks for watching, and please let us know your thoughts on the theory in the comments below. Until next time we meet, we're the final bosses.